Okay, hold on. Can you hear me now? Much better. Much better. Much better. Let me see here. All right. All right. My apologies for the technical difficulties. So let's go ahead and let's fate would have it. Let's start over again. For those of you hearing me for the first time, thank you for being with me. As always with any technology, you always have technical difficulties. So let me go ahead and tell you how today's show works. Typically, the way I work is that I will answer as many questions that you have for me live. I typically have preset questions that have been provided to me in advance. If after going through those questions no one has any additional questions, I will then end the show, and then of course you can always post questions to me, and I will post responsive videos during the week, or if you want to come back to me live again, I'll be back here in the following month, the second Sunday, as always, at 10 a.m. All right. On three things for today. As always, don't think that you can't jump in. So if you've got a question that pops up, please jump in between that time. Congress recently allocated some additional funds for three distinct things to occur within the Social Security Administration: fraud, SSI determination, and continuing disability review. And I want to take a moment to address all three. First, I want to start with fraud. Most people don't realize that Social Security fraud is a problem. And not only is it a problem, most people don't realize that in some instances it can result in criminal charges. Here's what I tell people when they come to me asking me should they be concerned about Social Security, about them being investigated for fraud, things of that nature. This is what I say. If you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, Social Security fraud should not be a problem. Let me say this again. If you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, Social Security fraud should not be a problem. Okay? So that's the first thing. However, I know this is going to sound really, really vague when I say this, but I'm going to break it down to you like this. It has typically been my experience that 5% of the population makes it hard for 95% of the population. I follow the bell-shaped curve. That if you stop and you think about it, 95% of the people are probably doing the things that they need to be doing. The problem is that the 5%ers are the ones that make it harder for everybody else. And the reason why I say they make it harder for everybody else is because they do things that causes people to have to bring attention to a potential problem. And let me give you an example of how fraud can actually operate. There was a young lady who was taking care of her elderly father, and her father was at a point where he could no longer handle his funds. So she was the representative payee. Well, guess what ended up happening? Well, he passed away, and no one notified the Social Security Administration. As a result, she kept getting money on his behalf. And this went on for about 1.5 years until someone realized, I think something that they asked for from him, he didn't respond back. And somebody did a little research and realized he had passed away. Well, guess what they did? They went after her because she knew that he was gone. She knew she was representing his finances, and she could have easily let them know when he passed, but she chose not to. Were criminal charges filed against her? Absolutely. And if I believe correctly, she actually pled out and is going to jail for like 6 or 7 months, something weird like that. I tell people, don't freak out, because I'll get people all the time saying, Attorney Reeves, oh my God, do I need to be worried that somebody's going to be looking over my shoulder and everything like that? And I tell them, listen, a couple of things that you need to be aware of, and this is just being blunt. When people ask me the question, I'll say this. If you are applying for disability benefits, you have an ongoing responsibility of proving you're disabled. Plain and simple. Let me say this again. If you are If you are applying for disability benefits, you have an ongoing duty of proving you're disabled, even after you've been found disabled. So is there a possibility that Social Security may keep an eye on you to see whether or not there is some indication that you may be committing fraud? Absolutely. Are they doing it for everybody? No. You know, they may be doing it because someone alerted them to it, or maybe they're doing it at random. There's no, you know, unfortunately, don't sit there and freak out and worry that maybe you shouldn't go out the house during the daytime because somebody's going to see you and say something. The other thing is, I need you to also understand I also need you to understand human nature. People have a natural inclination to not want to see people get something for nothing. So if there is a reason to believe, if somebody has a reason to believe that you're getting benefits and you shouldn't, even though they have no clue what your condition is, they're going to complain about it. That's just the nature of the beast of how people operate. So don't take it personally if it happens like that. Now, here's the other thing that you need to be aware of. If you're doing what you need to be doing, you should not have a problem. Let me say this again. If you're doing what you need to be doing, you should not have a problem. So focus on doing the things that you normally do, and don't worry about if somebody's keeping an eye on you. Deal with that issue if it comes up. Don't stress yourself into believing that it's going to come up. Now, second thing is what we call SSI determination, or what we call SSI redetermination. My understanding is that there's going to be a greater focus on checking to see whether or not individuals still have the same financial assets and resources standards by which their SSI may or be adjusted up or down. I know that sounds like a lot of gobbledygook, but let me pause on this for a second. When you get approved for SSI, what do? They do what's called a PERC interview. It's an interview to ascertain what your assets and your resources are, so they can calculate how much money you're entitled to do per month. A lot of times they just do it at the very beginning, and it doesn't happen a lot along the way. So guess what? Your financial situation may have changed a year from now, a couple months from now. But if you don't alert Social Security, they may not know. So let's say, for instance, you know, you are getting disability benefits for your child, and all of a sudden your child starts getting child support. Well, that's, you know, or let's say not court order child support. Let's just say that your the non-custodial parent is providing you extra money for your child. Well, guess what? If you don't tell Social Security that, they're not going to know that you're getting extra money. So because once they know you get extra money, they're going to have to adjust how much money you're getting per month in SSI. So they're going to be doing an increased number of redeterminations to make sure that there's no change in your financial circumstances. Because Social Security wants to make sure that you're getting, for the SSI program, they want to make sure you're getting exactly what you're supposed to be getting per month. So keep that in the back of your mind. Now, final thing, continuing disability use. Social Security is about to start having an increase in the number of what we call CDRs. I've had a number of people reach out to me freaking out about this, and let me kind of give you the lay of the land with how this actually works. Continuing disability reviews are designed to determine whether or not you have medically improved. The reality is the Social Security Administration does not believe you are going to be disabled forever. So it's important for you to understand that just because you get disability benefits at a particular point, that is not the finish line. You have not won. You have an ongoing responsibility to prove that you're disabled. So a lot of times people will ask me, how often does it happen? It depends on a variety of situations. How old you are, the type of condition you have, may even be the demands of that office. They may be so busy that they just can't get to you. Well, guess what? They're going to start doing more reviews. Now, let me tell you where reviews scare people. One, like I said, a lot of times I've had people who will go and they'll get disability benefits, and all of the things they did to aggressively get benefits, they stop doing. They throttle off the gas. And I tell people, don't do that. Keep your foot on the gas because you prove you're disabled. That's the first thing. Second of all, the decision about whether you keep the benefits going while you fight. Typically, if they decide that you are no longer disabled and you want to appeal, you can keep your benefits going. During that time period, you can. However, if they make it an ultimate determination, which is usually at the ALJ level, that you are no longer disabled, you are going to have to return that money. Plain and simple. The tricky part is for those people who keep that money going and they've been found to no longer be disabled, is finding someone to represent you. And this is the part that really hurts people about continuing disability reviews. People, I hate to say this, but listen to me when I say these words. Do not take this personally, and I only share this with you because I want to have as much information as possible. Attorneys and representatives are business people. And so when you were trying to get disability benefits and they represented you on a contingency fee basis, they did so because under that scenario, the Social Security Administration could just pay them from whatever back pay that you were going to get if you were found disabled. Because think about it, when they came to you, you weren't getting any money. So they're basically saying, we'll roll the dice and take a risk to try to help you get money because we will get money because you got money. Well, guess what happens when you have a cessation case? You're getting money already. Think about it. You're getting it. So if they represent you, there's nothing yet unless you pay them. And then here where it gets even more funky. If they'll say, well, how about if I put them on a payment plan? Well, here's where it gets funky. You may be able to convince a representative to get you on a payment plan before they keep your disability benefits going. They're probably not going to want to do that after they help you get disability benefits. I mean, keep your benefits going. And you're sitting there going, well, why is that? Well, there's a reason why is that. Because let's be real. I don't want to be nasty when I say this, so don't take this the wrong way. People have their own personal priorities. Plain and simple. They do. People have their own personal priorities. And so what happens is that once you receive your disability benefits again and your benefits keep going, guess what? You've gotten what you desire, your desired result. So the desire to pay somebody goes away. Now when you think you may lose it, you have a greater desire to pay. But if you get your benefits now, the desire to pay is no longer gone, is no longer there. So what I tell people is this: if you know you plan on keeping your benefit going, and you need a representative to help you, be advised that there is a good possibility that the representative is going to ask you to pay in order for you to for them to represent you. Recognize that they are going to ask you to pay. How much depends on the representative. Now, some representatives will ask for a big lump sum. Some representatives will ask to pay on a monthly spread out before the hearing. Every representative is a little different. Just know that you're going to probably have to pay something. And I know it's hard because you're thinking, I barely have enough money to pay per month to take care of all my expenses with the money I'm getting for Social Security. This is the time when you need to reach out to a loved one if necessary. This is where you need to start thinking about allocating a few dollars to the side from your benefits just in case. You want to protect yourself, because the reality is if you have to hire a representative, you're probably going to have to pay. All right. I want to apologize in advance for all the technical difficulties here that I experienced. As always, you can ask me any questions that you like. At this time, if anyone has any additional questions, please ask them at this time, because if not, I'm going to end the broadcast, and I encourage you to check out the videos that every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And in some instances, I'll provide you a bonus tip so that this way you can have a couple of extra information for your benefit as well. As always, the show broadcasts our live show broadcasts every second Sunday. Every now and then we have technical difficulties like this, so please forgive me. And if you couldn't hear me well today and you still have some questions you want to ask, go ahead and post them to my YouTube videos or Google Plus, and I'll make sure that I get to them accordingly. All right? See if we got any questions here. All right. Well, as always, I want to thank you for taking the opportunity for joining me on this beautiful, beautiful Mother's Day. I am here to answer as many questions as possible. I'm able to be a resource to you. And as always, my name is Attorney Anthony Reeves, and you have a wonderful day. And this is Q&A, Social Security Disability Today.